Hey everyone, thank you for joining to our weekly Python studying sessions. And as I promised you, we're going to start learning object-oriented programming. And today we're gonna create a game. We're gonna create some drawings, and this is all by understanding some basic concepts of object-oriented programming. I'm going to share the presentation. We're gonna have some theory and some practice, some visualizations. I think it's going to be fun. And we're gonna start. I hope you can see the screen. Actually, my computer is a little bit frozen. Maybe it was not a good idea. Okay, so can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our whole new chapter, object-oriented programming in Python. And this sessions will be based on Raspberry Pi Foundation courses. And we will start from the aims of our journey. We're gonna learn the fundamentals of object-oriented programming, and we're gonna learn the concepts like object, class, method, attribute, instantiation. We're gonna use these terms practically to create our own programs, and we're gonna create some adventure games using these concepts like objects and classes. We're going to extend existing classes and learn about abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Although it sounds a little bit maybe strange for you, don't worry, because we will cover them step by step as we covered some basic data types. So what is an object? Object is used to model things in code. We can think about objects like some models, for example, the models that we create for fashion. And then we use these models to instantiate the classes. So we use some basic prototype and create similar models, but we can change a little bit their appearance or the way they behave. And other examples can be some physical items like display screen or digital units like bank account or an enemy in computer games. So it's a nice example. Some characters in computer games, we can use some models and we can change a little bit its appearance, so it will be more personalized. And an object is a group of data and functions. So it means it can have both the data and it can have the functions. And we will cover the data and functions a little bit later. So when we already used objects, actually when we created the list of numbers, remember we covered the list data type, and here we see the example numbers. Numbers we define it as a variable, which is actually a list object that contains data and methods. And data is these integers 1, 2, and 3. And the methods that we can use to manipulate this data are various, and the examples are .append method to add another integer to this list, for example, 4. And as you remember, or maybe you can share with me what types of methods you remember from list data type. Any methods? For example, length. We measure the length of the list. So this is the method already written actually for that class. Let's see next. So why would we want to make an object? Why we need this? One of the benefits of using object-oriented programming is that we can use some methods without knowing how it works. As an example, we use the append methods for lists, but we don't know actually how it works, right? As long as it works, we are fine with this. And the usual form of using the methods is the dot notation. For example, the object and dot method with the parentheses. So now we know a little bit of what object is, and let's create a game. So for this, we need, can you please share with me what PC are you using? What operating system are you using? Because I'm on my Mac, and I'm going to show how I will create this game. And if you're on Windows, let me know. Okay.
Windows.
Windows, okay. So a little bit difficult. Oh, okay, you're all almost on Windows, okay. So what we need to do actually first is to have a right environment. So does anybody already have the Anaconda or other environments like PyCharm? So before we were using like other, oh no, my PC was, okay. Oh, sorry, the Chrome was closed and I lost a little bit of my presentation. Okay. So sorry, I lost my presentations, and where is this? Please give me some time. Oh, otherwise, okay. Let me share the screen and we'll just start from the simulations or the game. Okay, desktop, share. And so for you to create the game and see the visualization of the games, we need to some personal information here. Wait a moment, because I lost some from tabs. Now I need to open them again. And oh my, it's starting. Okay. So I will send you the link how to set up your environment. And you will need some okay, this one. So if you're using Windows, you need maybe this one, dedicated Python editor. And I think, Abdullah, you have the environment, right? So maybe it's not necessary for you. I'll send the link here. In this course, they use Mu, this one. So you can download it and install it just so you don't have any like problems, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on installation. So you need to just go to download and Mu. And if you're on Linux, I'm not sure. So for Mac, I can write programs on the terminal without any special environments. So I hope you can do, because Python, Windows also has its own already pre-installed Python, I think. But why we need a special program? Because it might be the case that you won't see the visualization of your game without the environment. So could you please download it? And while it's downloading, I will start explaining the program itself. And I hope you can start implementing what I have explained right after you have installed this environment. Otherwise, if you understand the concepts, I hope you can then code on your own after the study session, okay? So we also will a little bit learn how to work with the terminal here. So I'm in the documents folder right now, and I will create a new folder for these games, mkdir, and I will use turtle. So this will be the new folder. And then I want to go to this turtle folder using change directory command. So now you see here, I was in the documents. Now I'm in the turtle. I hope you can see. I'm not sure actually how to increase. Okay, like this. Okay, I hope you can see now better. And we will create a file, Python file, using touch command, touch, and then our folder file will be turtle race. So this is going to be turtle race.py. .py is used to signify that this is the Python file. And turtle race is going to be our game that we will create today. And then I will write in this file, right in the terminal, using the vim vim method. And then I need to specify the name of the file. And here it is, the empty file. And then I need to press I so that I can now insert, you can see here in the bottom. So I can now insert the code. And let me also open the presentation in case I forgot, or not even presentation, maybe this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna use, so now we only know about the objects, and we're gonna use already defined class, and we're gonna import the class, okay? So how we do this, we need to write from turtle, this is the class, we import maybe it's small. Yes. Okay. This allows us to use the defined class and create an object of this class. And you can write your own name. This is going to be our object of the class turtle. And we do this, how to create object. We create it like we create variables. We put the name, for example, Aya, or another name like Div, for example, it's a short name. And then we write turtle and put the parentheses. So this is how we create an object of class turtle. And you can see here that turtle starts from the uppercase because this is the way we actually name our classes. And the name of the object div is going to be is going to follow the same rules as variables, as we're naming variables. Now we have created the div object, which is a turtle of a turtle class, and we can use the attributes defined in this class. What does mean attributes? Attributes are the data, and what data is saved, is defined in the turtle class. It's a shape and a color. So we can say div color is going to be, so here I use dot notation to access the attribute. And I say, for example, red. Then div shape is going to be turtle. Okay. Now we need to use these methods. I'm going to just copy or print myself. Div peanut. This is to set up the position of our turtle in the how to say, the environment. And then we say div go to and specify the x and y parameters of the location. So let's say it's a minus 160 and 100. And then we say div pin down. And then we can save this file. So we created our first object, div. It's our turtle, the first turtle. And how to save this file? We press escape. Then here you see I printed colon, then W and Q. So it's save and exit. Now let's call our file or program using Python, and then we specify the name of our file. And we should wait a little bit. There was some mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Let's see again our file. Yeah, it should be correct, I think. Total. Let's run it again. Oh, why? Let me run it here. in case I did some mistakes. Then. It's actually already created a game, so you already saw it. So it works here, but not here. Maybe there are some mistakes. Let's see, turtle race, copy, and then I put up arrow to see last commands. Let's see, from turtle, import turtle. And this must be working, but there's some mistakes. If your environment has already downloaded, let me know. No. Somehow there is a mistake. Maybe that's because, okay, so I made a mistake. So I think I named my folder as turtle, and actually in the tutorial they mentioned, so it's not a good practice to create the name of a folder similar to the name of a class. So let's say it's turtle game, and then I will create turtle. Maybe that's not the case. I'm not sure. What I did now. I think I understand now what's happening. There is no mistakes. Okay, so because when I was preparing this simulation, I had really small terminal, and okay, let's try. And this simulation is so short that you won't. Oh, see here. So we saw just small turtle. Okay, now I'm relieved. Let's see again. This is our turtle. Have you seen? And in order for it to stay for long until we say close this window, we need to add one thing to our code. This is the line that I'm going to paste, this one. Input, press enter to close. So it's going to leave this window open unless I press the enter. So now I'm going to type escape, then colon, save and exit. And when I put Python turtle race pi, okay, so here is our first turtle, yay. And this is the red turtle called div, okay? And we put it on the position -160 to 100. So we are good. Now let's create 3 more turtles. And this is going to be Abdullah, who already exited, but that's not bad. So I put enter, and also the one Dimaral, okay? Let's create Vim turtle race pi, then I for insert, and then I will create the same turtles, but let's change a little bit some attributes of our object. So let's see, the first going to be Dimaral. So first one was Aya, but we also will create div, okay? Dimaral, it's our second turtle. And Dimaral, what color do you want to have?
Violet.
What?
Violet color?
Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if there is a violet color.
Or purple?
Let's say purple, okay. You are a turtle. And then we will set up your position. And it's going to be Dimaral. And now Dimaral. But you're going to stay on the same x-axis. So it's going to be -160, but a little bit lower or upper, right? Let's say a little bit down compared to me, just so we have a order. Let's say 80. And we're gonna have another turtle. It's going to be div. And div, what color do you want to have? If you full screen, oh, sorry. Yes, full screen, maybe half screen is okay. I'm not sure where we're gonna have the, I'm going to move the screen with turtles to the right. Let's say like this, okay? Black and white. Okay, I'm not sure. There must be no double colors, only one color. So let's say white is not good color, maybe black, because we have the background, which is white. And then your shape is also turtle. And here is the same for everybody. Just we say you're going to be a little bit lower than Dimaral, and let's say 40. And then we're gonna have, let's say, another turtle, which is lost, is Abdullah. It's funny. He's a turtle, and what do you think he would choose a color? Let's say he would be green. Any ideas? No. So it's easy now. Do you follow the logic? Do you understand what's happening here? Or not really? And he will be on the same x-axis. So we're gonna start in the same x position, but we're gonna be positioned in line on y-axis. And he will be, let's say, 20. Now I'm going to press escape, colon, W and K. Okay, and then we will run this program like this. Oh, this is our turtles. Okay, so we actually put our y-axis in an interesting way because we are like grouped in pairs, right? So I'm with Dimaral and Deep with Abdullah. Here are small cute turtles. We are good. Now this is all the objects, right? Turtle objects. What we can do now, so we created our objects using the concepts of object and concepts of attributes, right? We changed color and we changed shape. Color and shapes are the attributes of the object of class turtle. Now, what we can do next is we can use the concept of methods. And we're gonna create a race right now. So let's see. Okay, I want to see a little bit. Okay. So to create this race, we're gonna use a random library because we don't want to just predict who will be the first or the last. We're gonna do it in a random manner. And we already remember from previous study sessions that to create random integer, for example, we're gonna use a random module and a method around int, for example, for integers. Import round int. And for say a step, we're gonna use the for loop for step in range, and we already know this. For example, 100. So it means from 0 to 99, we have 100 steps. And for this 100 steps, Aya will move forward in random manner, round int from say 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, doesn't matter. And then same goes to the Dimaral, Div, and Abdullah. Okay, and I'm going to change names here. Okay, so that's it. We press escape, colon, W, K, Q, and then we run our file. Oh, okay. So first we are, oops. Aya is not defined. Interesting. There was, you notice there was a mistake. That's why our program was abrupted. Let's see what mistake I did. Oh, okay. So I used Aya with the capital letter, but I defined my object as a small letter. Oops. First, we are lined on the start, and then div is not div. Okay, many mistakes. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, so we should be consistent. Okay. Escape. We are in line. And then we go, 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 go. Who will be the first? Let's see. Okay, who is the first? Yay, we have Div the first. So Div won this race. And because it's a random, we use the random method, we're supposed to have different winner each time. So do you have any questions about this small game and the concepts we use to create it? Is there any questions? So we started from the first concepts, and this is the first time we are introduced to object-oriented programming. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. Let's press and enter, and then let's see the code itself again. So here we imported some class, and then we created an object Aya, Dimaral, Div, and Abdullah of the class turtle. And then using the dot method, we changed the attributes of our object, which are color and shape. And then using the dot method, we also use some dot format. We changed or used the methods like go to this position, move forward, right? So this is methods that we used. And now let's go to the next concepts or next examples. And I'm going to open my presentation. Okay. So remember before I was using sometimes the words function, sometimes methods, but actually there is a little bit of difference between these two concepts. And the functions allow us to give the name to a set of instructions. So before we were defining functions like def and then the name, and then we define the name to the actions that we want to use from the single call of the function, right? For example, here we also can pass the data to function, and we can return this as a result. Here is example of the function knock knock joke, which is the name of the function is tell, and then it receives two data, which is intro and punchline, and then it prints different strings. Knock knock, who's there? If we pass here, if we call the function and pass ach, and then sounds like you've got a cold, we should have seen here the result ach, and then ach who, and then sounds like you got a cold, right? The difference between functions and methods is that if, for example, I wanted to create a object my joke, which is of class joke, and we pass two strings to this object, and then we use dot tell format of the tell method, we're going to have a arrow, this one, name arrow, because joke is not defined. Why? Because anytime we're going to use the method using the dot tell notation, we assume, or we already know, or we created already, and we know this, that there is already a class defined. So class is a blueprint of an object. And to avoid this mistake that we saw with the joke, we should create a joke class. Is it clear? Now, let's see the summary of what we have already covered. We know there is a class, and the class is a blueprint or the architecture of something, and it has attributes and it has the methods. And the attributes are the data. It can be any type of data of any types, like integers, some, for example, shape, the X and Y axis, some colors, like we defined for turtles. And there can be some methods which use the data or change the data or do something with the object. And when we define our class with attributes and methods, now we have the architecture and we can create instances of this class, which is object. And this object will use the attributes and the methods defined in the class to construct itself, right? So we use the architecture to create the body. And if I use another analogy, it could be cookies, creating cookies. Let's see this video. If it's not working, I'm going to just open from computer. Okay. It's a little bit slow. I think it's difficult for my computer to keep up. Okay. Okay, so here the doll, okay, not the doll, the circle was the class, and we used to create objects of the same class. So they are all circles, right? And then we modified these objects, these resulted circles, by changing the attributes of the class or of the object. We can also say we added some sprinkles, we added some chocolate and stuff, and it created this diversity of the objects. Another example is we have a class cars or other classes, and we can create objects cars of different types, right? And we can change the attributes of the cars, like the volume of the gas, for example, we use the size, the color, and so on. Okay. And so this is the example. So we can have the cookie class, and we create the object sprinkled cookie of the class cookie, and it receives the sprinkles attribute or the parameter. Now, the last thing that we can do to make sure we understand the concept of classes, objects, attributes, and methods is to draw. Let's draw today. And for this, we need to actually to have already predefined classes. And this is going to be, okay, I think the problem with my computer is low energy. Okay. So we need to have a predefined classes shapes, and I'm going to send you the file, which is shapes py, this one, and you can open this file, and I will open for you. So we will inspect this file a little bit. So let's say this doesn't have this one. And okay, theme shapes dot py. Okay, so we have here a class defined. We haven't yet covered how to define the class. That's why we have this already predefined class for us, and we're going to use this to draw. And here is the class shape, and let's say here is our shapes, like class triangle, class oval, and that's it. There must be a rectangle as well, and maybe that's it. And before we go into details what's inside this class, we just gonna use a little bit of understanding what class is. It's like a template, and just apply or implement what's written in this class to draw. I'm going to quit this, and I'm going to create a file which is created by using touch method call, and then let's say draw together .py, and then I'm going to go into this draw together file using Vim. Then I press I to insert anything. Now, in order for us to use the predefined class, we need to import it. So we say from shapes, I think shapes, yes. Import. And then we import the different shapes. Okay, so from shapes we import oval, triangle. This is the classes: rectangle, and maybe that's it for now. And then we create our first rectangle, rect one, just rect. Okay. And how to create the rectangle object? We just use rectangle and brackets. So this is our rectangle object. And this rectangle object can have a different color. For example, yellow, let's say. Oh, yellow is not good. Maybe, let's say, blue. And we're gonna, let's see the task. Okay, we can define width and height. Rect width going to be, for example, 150. And rect, I forgot to say that. So we created our object rectangle, and we're going to use the concept of setter to change the attribute value. And we say set width to be 150 and rect set height, example 70. Then let's copy this one in case we're gonna have the same problem. And maybe that's it so far. Let's call our program. Oh, I see. So I have many mistakes actually done, but we have no time. Let me just open the file that I have created before. Nope. Let's see. Okay, so we also need to create the background, right? So we create the background. We need to import the class paper, and this class paper allows us to create the background, the paper on which we're gonna draw. Then we created the rectangle, we set the width, the height, and also we need to use the set for colors. And then we need to draw this rectangle using the dot draw method. And to display our drawing, we need to use paper dot display method. And if I call this already created file, just for the sake of saving a little bit of time, I'm going to have, hopefully, yes, I'm going to have this rectangle of blue shape. And another thing that we can do, we can create the second rectangle. But one thing that you need to note is that when you create the second rectangle, you need to put the data before the display, because paper.display will launch this dialog or the window. And if you define your object after that, it won't display you the created object. And I'm going to suggest you to participate in the drawing challenge. And what you can do is you can inspect the file that I have shared with you, the shapes.py. And you can see there, so there is also, try to find the attribute set X and set Y. What it does is when you create another object on this paper, it will be pasted on the same position as the first object. And in order to visualize them separately or visualize them in the way you want to your figures to be, you need to set the position X and Y using the set X, set Y methods. And also, it's not here, okay, but you can look at the shapes.py file, And you can find that oval has the random or randomized method that you can call on this object using dot randomize method. And I suggest you to try and see what happens with the oval. And then once you look at this file, maybe you can create some simple drawings like a house or some other simple objects, just to understand what object is, what class is a little bit, what attributes are, and what methods are. And that's it for today. If you have any questions, please let me know, because this is really new for you. And I hope it's exciting for you, because we're gonna create more interesting games later on. If there is no questions, then thank you for joining, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.